All right. All right. All right. We are live, live, live. How is everybody doing? It has been a long time, and I apologize for the delay. You know how that goes. Let me get another tab in here so I can look at things as we're going around. Yeah, it's been a while. It's good to run into everybody again. Hopefully, we'll have some people stop by. It's 12 o'clock on a Friday, noontime, exactly noon on May the 27th. And did not foresee me doing this because I did not think I would have any of these bottles next to me, which is it's kind of a miracle in a way. I'll tell you why in a second. I'm just getting there we go. Anyway, it's been a while, and sorry about the man. The lighting is ultra bright in here today. Trying to get it to. I guess it's better than being too dark. Whatever. Uh, good to see everybody, and we got a couple new Ardbegs. I've been lucky enough to be collecting them since around. Well, I only started collecting whiskey. I guess it was like around 2015, 16. I can't remember exactly the year, somewhere around there. Um, and I've had the Ardbogs, the Kildaltons, the oh gosh, let's see. I'm looking back in the back to see if some of the ones I've collected over the years. We got the original Stellar release of the Supernova from 2009. That's probably my favorite special bottle. I did drink it. I got it for a hell of a deal. I did not spend secondary market prices on it. Thank God, because it would have been astronomically high. I got it for around, believe it or not, $100 or so, which is way, way below the deal. Oh well, we already got a couple people here. Jacket Puppet, good to see you, brother, as well. Yeah, some of you guys find the funniest avatars, I swear. Last Cause, good to see you, man. I stopped working for the Ardbegs. Yeah, I'm gonna get into that in a second. And thanks so much for stopping by, man. I know some of you guys are working hard. I'm luckily to be off today, and I just thought, you know what? I didn't think I was going to get into these because I have stopped working hard for the Ardbegs, only because the secondary market prices are just absolutely asinine. I mean, they're just when you pop one of these in the market, they're usually 120 to 150. Now they're running 150 for the even the limited, and like 180 for the committee releases, which is almost double than what it used to be like in 2015, 16, which is really kind of sad. So that's the first negative part, that they are raising their MSRP prices, which is always fun. But there's inflation and crap like that we got to deal with. So that I know that's part of it, but still, it's not been easy. I've been lucky enough to have like things like the Perpetuum, the Dark Cove, the Drum, the Grooves, the Kelpie, the oh gosh, the Black, all of them up, Scorch, all the way up to even the fermentation. When I did a review, sort of, I did like a talk last time it was released, and it got better with oxidation a little bit, thankfully, and that kind of reminded me a lot of the Ardbeg, the rye. At first, I was kind of like, not sure if it's really for me out of the gate, but the Scorch was opposite. The Scorch was, to me, was better out of the gate. The oxidation, I don't think, helped that one as much, but hopefully this one will be good out of the gate. If not, I'll definitely guys let you know in the next show if it gets better in time. Um, but yeah, that the last run, the fermentation got better after a few weeks of having a little more air in the bottle after I attacked it. But let's have a pour, man. I'm thinking we want to probably start with the milder version. We'll call it milder. It's actually the limited release of the Ardcore. Um, I didn't think I was going to be able to find it at all because typically I've got a few contacts that I work with. One in Virginia, one in Montgomery County, one in Anne Arundel County. You know that kind of keep a lookout for me because they know that I actually enjoy the whiskey. I'm not buying this to resell it by any means, and I don't like people to do that either. If you can help it, please don't buy to resell, because there's people like myself that actually want to enjoy it for a reasonable price. We can't do it because you guys are buying it off the shelves before we can get our hands on it. But thankfully, there is people that'll look out if you do some regular business with them. And thankfully, I mean, my Virginia contact fell through, my Montgomery County contact fell through on this one, but thankfully my more local one. was able. This was a Howard County, actually, I believe. Was able to find where that was. So, whew. I even was going to go through some weird lottery crap that Montgomery County was doing, where they had it. Like I called them and they're like, "We do have it." I'm like, "Great, I'll be there to pick it up." And they're like, "Well, you have to wait till the second or third Saturday in May when the moon is half full and all this crap." I'm like, fuck that. I like the Scorch, but it is a challenging dram. Yeah, I like that one right off the bat. Like I was getting like strawberry, raspberry, more fruity flavors from it from the get go. But with the oxidation, I lost all my fruit. That kind of pissed me off a little bit, but it was still tasty in other ways. But yeah, it gives you a lot to think about for sure. Lost Cause is exactly right with that, man. Are you working today, man? And Jackie Puppet, if you're still around, let me know if you're working as you're watching, or if you're luckily at home too. This is the new release. They Ardbeg always does a yearly one. We were talking about the Scorch, which was last year's. Fermentation was like a special in between committee thing that they've been doing for a while too. Ardbeg Day deal. This is the Ardcore, which is the limited release, which is what we'll start with. This one is 46%, which is usually their limited releases are all 46, and then their committee releases, which we'll do afterward, are higher. This one's 50.1. That's on the lower side of the committee release. Typically, they're like 54, 55. I've even seen 50.1 isn't anything to snooze at per se, but the difference between 46 and 50.1 is only 4 percent ish. Is that really enough to be a major notice? Because they're charging you 120 for the regular and 180 for the thing. So, is it worth the difference? I mean, that's a thing we'll have to take a look at. Sorry about the mic in the way there. Created with black malt barley, Ardcore is a first for Ardbeg and probably whiskey. Okay, aromas of dark chocolate and brittle toffee clash, while amped up notes of aniseed and charcoal elbow their way to the fore. I guess they're doing the mosh thing, which is fine. Uh, and then they go into their marketing stuff. But yeah, it is a nice bottle. I like the zipper deal around the thing. It's kind of cute, if you're into that kind of deal. But I'm all about what's inside the bottle. So let's look and see what is inside the bottle. Oh, I'm excited. It's been a while. I didn't think I was gonna. All my contacts fell through, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to get this. And I even wrote to Ardbeg, and I'm like, these secondary market prices are so bad that I'm thinking about stop collecting. That's how ridiculous it's getting. So if I didn't get this for a reasonable price, which I thankfully did, I probably would have been like, I think I'll just call it a day for a while and maybe collect something else. But thankfully, Ardbeg owes my guy in Howard County a lot, because I would have been like, I'm done with this. Ooh, nothing better than the old sniff of the cork when you. Not as smoky as I would expect, but I do get it. Hmm. Let's get it in the glass. Enough messing around, right? I'm so happy to be off today. Give ourselves a generous pour. I think that's about a 2.5 to 3 finger pour. We'll start out conservative and work our way up. Has anybody else had this already? I'm just curious if you guys have had a chance to even mess with it. Decided to eat lunch while I watched. Oh, that's cool, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me, Lost Cause. And I forgot whereabouts in the country you are. Let me know if you don't mind me knowing, or the people knowing after the fact. But I can't remember if you're in the East Coast, or if you're a West Coast, or a Central Kansian or Ohioan or whatever. But it looked interesting. Yeah. New Orleans, there we go. Even better, man. I love that city. I've been there a few times, and every time I've been, the best food in the world. I love roux. I like alligator and stuff, so you know how that goes. I'm all about, if I could have a second place down there and it wasn't a fortune, I'd all be on the bayou, man. Uh, ooh, now, no, okay, now it's kind of funny because I wasn't getting anything hardly from just the cork pop, but man, this has got some intensity on the nose when you go into the Glencairn at least. So that's a bit of a plus. Ooh, this reminds me, what is that? Wow, it's got like a It's got like a nice brininess to it that reminds me a bit of like a Talisker, but I don't know about the age. The age is iffy. This is I mean, this thankfully Ardbeg is not one to be too, they don't do the coloring thing, thank God. I don't think this is chill filtered by any means either. Yeah, non-chill filtered. Um, so even though this is a black malt barley, this is not a sherried whiskey. So this is true color. I'll give you kind of a white balance to sort of white balance to work with. It's it's definitely on the lighter side, I'd say. Love the fact that they do have a decent bottling of 46%. Wish there was an age statement. NASs don't really do much for me unless I know kind of the mix. Like I like how Compass Box does it, where yeah, it's an NAS, but they tell you if you want to know what all is in it, what the ages are, what the cast types are, maturations, whatever. That's what I would love to be able to see, but I know that a lot of this is. I mean, this is the thing. I know a lot of this is proprietary stuff because you don't want your competition to know what you're doing on one hand, but on the other hand, these are one-offs. They're not ever going to release this again, most likely. Just like they can't do the Dark Cove. I would love to get a Dark Cove every other day, but they're not going to be able to do it. So what's the big secret? Unless I guess they have a way to maybe do it in the future. I don't know, but we will see. But it's got kind of a It's got like a danky, almost a danky potato chip thing going on. It's definitely different. Not a nose that I mean, that's what's one thing. I mean, even though they are pricey, one thing that is special about the Ardbeg releases that are yearly, and kind of reminds me of the Lafroy Carriages releases. Very, very similar. They do have these specialized things. Sometimes Lafroig's not as experimental, I think, with the exception of a couple things. But Ardbeg's a little bit more experimental overall with their stuff. And they've kind of not glorified, but they've celebrated their accidents, which is kind of nice with the Amburg. If you're uh, familiar with the big mess in Gaelic, Amburg, the port. It was like a port. I think it was a port sherry mix of some sort. But that was a hella good from. That was a Kilhoman actually. They do some really cool experimentations as well. One of my favorite new distilleries too is Kilhoman, and they're just now getting to 12-year releases. I think. Still got to get my hands on one. Hint, hint. Anybody out there knows a place where Telex can get his hands on a year stated Kilhoman, I would be very, 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 very thankful. Very thankful. Anyway, but hopefully we'll get some Europeans to join us and have a little fun too. Tusen tak to the Norwegians out there. Wow, there is a nice little fermentation pickly, like a pickled ginger thing going on. Very, very briny. It's like it's got this nice spicy note to it too, but it's not cinnamon. It's more like a cedar wood, sandalwood, sandalwood, like with a cedar kind of a. It's funny. Like the first initial hit, I was like, it kind of hit me a little young. The more I'm digging into it, there might be some older stuff in here. I'm not gonna say like 15 and up, but it might have a little 15 in here. It's got a nice, real, almost like a Ardbeg is always good about having this really kind of a in the background. I guess it's part of the make. It's got this terry rope thing going on too. It's nice dark spice. That's definitely cedar sandalwood. What is else is that? That's like a. It's got like a antique chest kind of feel too. That's where I'm thinking maybe there might be a little age to it, but oh, it's definitely a good mixture. And I think that's why they do these NASs because they probably have a percentage of 15 juice that they know that was special that they had laying around. And with this black malt barley process, I'm assuming that that's actually done with more of the regular make before it's blended with this older scotch. I'm assuming they won't tell you. I've begged Ardbeg to let me know what the special recipes are. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they did several batches over the years to mix age. Is true. Is it all black barley distillate? Created with black malt barley. So I mean, if it's created with it, I'm thinking that it's I think it's from the get go. Like you're saying, like it's like it is. I'm not getting any. Let me see if I can. Another site I like to use on the side besides whiskey base is distiller.com. They don't pay me anything. I don't even have a pro account. I just use their stuff to look up stuff, bottles in their database. They're usually pretty good about telling you more detailed information if it's available. Oh, they got both already on here. Cool. Oh wow! Surprisingly, someone did not like that. There's only one score here so far. They gave it a 2.5. Wow, that's pretty low. Let's see. Ardcore's limited release from Ardbeg, which has created celebrated Ardbeg Day, held each year, which is usually I think June 1st, in over in England. Here it came out May the 1st, which is interesting. Released also June of 2022. Let's see. It's made with a roasted malt, a black malt, a first for the distillery. So it is a roasted black malt from the get go. Let's see if there's any other information they give. I don't see anything though. But that they describe it as a toffee dark chocolate thing. I get where they're going with it. To me, it's more of like a tar creosote kind of feel. Maybe like a really intense dark espresso coffee thing going on in the background too. The peat's real subtle though. That might be why people. I mean, if you're going in thinking this is going to be a peat bomb, it's not a peat bomb. But is it a complex whiskey off the nose? Hell yeah. So far, I'm getting lots of different little notes. There's even some citrus fruit in there too. Lemon lime is kind of the thing that Ardbeg's make itself even has off their tins, so that's not surprising. But that pickly pickled ginger creosote tire terry rope thing is really that's a one. That's a one of a kind. That that type. It's not like a creosote tar that you get off a Corey Vrecken. That's more of a black pepper, white pepper bomb. This has got more of that woodiness. It's got like that cedar slash sandalwood spicy thing going on in the background with that kind of pickly fermentation. It's all over the place, but it's good. I don't know. It's not my favorite nose overall, but is it complex enough? Yeah, I'd say it is, especially for the limited. I mean, if the being only 4% difference, I'm not sure how much better the committee is going to release, but we'll check it out. Let's have a little sippy. Runs fairly quick, but 46, not surprised. But it does have well, there you go. It has two waves. It's got an initial wave that ran quickly, and look at that. Now it's got really thick legs coming down afterward. That's interesting. You don't see that very often. Really nice separation too. Look at that. That's crazy. You can see. I think. Let me see if I can twist it. Yeah, it's like there's some really nice leg work going on there. Sancheval, everybody. Okay. Wow. Okay. Hmm. This one's a bit different, but not bad. Very, very nicely oily. Hmm. Not a waxy whiskey, but a very oily whiskey, which I do like. Is the mouth coat I would consider definitely medium, if not a little on the heavier side. Waxy, no. Oily, yes. Definitely the regular Ardbeg, make is detectable, but that brininess is a little more intense. Kind of reminds me of like an old school, old Pulteney, not the new stuff, but the older stuff, which is not a bad thing. Um, no seashell though, no maritime notes in this. It's more of like a briny, citrusy, nice, really nice mouth coat. Finish is fairly long, surprisingly, but man, I don't know. That there is a hint, and I mean it's very very subtle. I'm hoping I get more out of it on the committee release, but there is a bit of that Heath toffee kind of deal going on in the finish. I'll agree with them on that. Definitely getting an anise on the nose more so than the palate, like a licorice. Very. I'm not into licorice at all, so thankfully it is subtle, but it's got kind of a black licorice kind of a tinge, maybe a tinge to it. I think that's where that anise is. Mm. Well, hopefully you guys that are able to watch after the fact can get your hands on at least a sample, if not a bottle. Man, it's different. I'm just going through the motions thinking, is it something that I would get for myself again? But I'll tell you why maybe not. It's not saying it's bad by any means. It's just not my personal favorite type. My favorite whiskeys are usually either sherried whiskey, peated and sherried whiskey, um, or really heavily fruity kind of sweet whiskey. I don't really like just straight up peat without some sort of something else to really give it like a balance, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I mean, I like peat, I like Octomore stuff. Like the 7.1 is a straightforward peated whiskey that I do enjoy. I guess the heavier the peat, if it's going to be peated, and that's all it's going to be. If it's heavily peated, then I like it more, like 169, 200 and something ppm. And then we're talking. But if it's a straightforward peat, like a Lagavulin 8, it's just not my kind of whiskey usually. I'd much rather have the Distiller's Edition, the 16, or the 18 or 20, 21, 25. I haven't tried those, but I would definitely be up for a 21, 25. Anything Lagavulin, that would be pretty killer. I have a feeling. The nose is more intriguing so far than the palate, but let's see if a little more oxidation will change that. I think it might give it a little more intensity with the spice. Water, water could too. The spice is intense. It's got a little ginger uh, snap thing also with the pickling, but it's also got like a ginger snap, like a earthier spice going on. Hmm. Let's have a. Thankfully, I got my old pipe out. We'll have a couple drops just to see if what kind of difference at all if it makes. Well, I poured my water and I don't even. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say I poured this big glass of water out, and I don't even have it next to me. There we go. What are you gonna drink tonight once you get home? There, I know you're lunch there, Lost Cause. Anybody else watching? Let me know what you are gonna be sipping for later on this evening. If you're gonna pop something open, maybe. Let's see while we're gonna let the water settle. I'm gonna check out. So not so good on the distiller. I'm just curious what whiskey base is giving this, if anything. They're international, so you're gonna get a little bit more of a I'm not sure if I'd say truer score. I mean, the distillers, they're pretty international too. I mean, they're based out of Sweden, for God's sakes, right? Okay, so it looks like I see they're looking at 84.32 ish. It looks like I, I don't see any other. I'm logged in too. I'm trying to see. Oh, there's only one headed. I'm a bit okay. This is someone else that had this exact one I'm having. They said I'm a bit disappointed when I taste it for the first time. It tastes too young for me, almost a bit cheesy. Of course, the Ardbeg smoke is there. Also, some bacon and grilled banana. I was thinking more plantain, but I see where they're coming from. But overall, I find it quite characterless. Well, soft wash, and yes, unfortunately, boring. I'm missing the certain punch, the independent note. I don't really know where he can and would like to stand out from the standard range, like the NO. For me, a clear step backwards with the special bodies. I really hope that the committee release can save something here. Wow, this is a username dot tour on Whiskey Base that gave a fairly thorough one. Uh, 83 from them, but there's been a couple other ones. There's an 86, 85, 89. What delicious taste, intensity, great summer whiskey with or without ice. Ice? Come on, man. Come on. Tastes very, very young. Worst release in 20 years. Wow. So that's what you get when you're forced to put a bottle on the market every year. The anise note is really annoying. Wow, this guy really hates that black licorice. I'm not a fan of the black licorice, but I can tolerate that anise note. Maybe that's why he thought it was the worst and whatever. But uh, I'm pretty sure Ardbeg whiskeys have had this anise note and other ones. The Wee Beastie was a big anise note. He must have really hated that one. I'm not gonna tear it up like these guys. I will say it's not my, definitely not my subjective taste by any means. But as far as going through the motions as a whiskey, to me, this is really how you have to do it. I'm a huge fan of Roy's Aquavite, if you guys know him, Scottish, real deal. He's the one that came up with the ABCDs of whiskey. Age statement, this one doesn't have it, so it'd be kind of a strike. Bottling strength, this is a 46%. That's decent, so let's get a check, for that. Coloring, uh, I'm sorry, no, C is for chill filtering. No chill filtering, so that's a check. And D for, I believe, dye, and there's no dye or E150A, any of that shit in here. So it's got everything but the age. Does it taste and smell young? I, to a degree, yes, but is there anything older in this giving it something? I mean, I don't know if it's just the great cask. Ardbeg fools me. They tend to fool me a lot with these releases where I'm thinking I'm picking up age, but I'm really picking up a very, very kick-ass cask. Now, one thing Ardbeg's got going for them is they have access to really spectacular casks across the board. They're not Macallan on one hand, but they're not, any schlup, just whatever run of the mill distillery either. They've got some. I mean, the black people might want to bitch about the age of that, but that Pinot Noir New Zealand cask, man, was unreal. I thought I appreciated it very much, but I like that kind of that wine, that the whole deal. Anyway, um, is there anything in this that's older? It's really tough to say because the cask is so good. So yes, do I detect the black malt barley on this cask? Definitely, on the nose and the palate. More profound on the nose. Is it young? Yes. Is there anything older in it? Man, that's the toughest. That's the hardest question about Ardbeg stuff to me. It seems like I might be mistaking the age for a better cast, though, because a lot of these people do get this kind of like a green plantain, and I think that's where people detect the youth of whiskey sometimes, and I do get that on here. But what percentage is it? Is there any? Is there like 15% at least, like some older stuff? I'm hopeful that they're not using seven and younger stuff, which is what it kind of feels like to a degree. But yeah, that bubblegummy kind of bubblegummy plantain note, is still there. This is after some water too. I think the bubblegum came out after the water on the nose. A little more spice on the palate. That's the only really difference. More white pepper, I'd say, on the palate. Little sprightly after a couple of drops, but that finish is not bad, man. That's the guess was what that's what's kind of getting me to give it. On one hand, I want to give it kind of a not a crap score, but kind of like a But there are some nicer things, and I'm wondering if they'll even come out more with time, oxidation, that kind of stuff. But this one's really tough. Let me come back here. Whiskey Nose, good to see you. That Daniel H. Even. Oh, here we go. Let me get where the hell my cursor go? Let's see. Lost Cause is going to hit the Kilkerran 16. That's a beautiful regular bottle, man. You know what's really sad? I remember when it first got released, I could get it for $65. I'd hate to know what it's going on for now. Is it still 65 or is it more like 85, 90? I have a bad feeling. It might even be 100 at this point. But when they first released the Kilkerran 16, 65 smackaroos. It was awesome. What the French? Hey, good to see you, Daniel. Man, yeah, it's been a while. I felt inclined to get on while I was off today, and I picked up these two bottles that I did not think I was going to be able to actually even try. So far, it's good. I'm debating with myself how good is it compared to some of the other releases like the Scorch, the Drum, the Black, the Grooves, the Kelpie, the Dark Cove, the Perpetuum, all that Era Verdes, Kill Dalton, Ardbog. I've had them all, so I'm kind of in the weeds on this one. It's not as bad as the Drum. I will say that off the get go. It's definitely more intense on the flavor. Thankfully, not overly sweet or anything like that. Drum to me was, um, with all that, I didn't get a lot of the rum characteristics that I was looking for off the Drum. That's why I thought it was more one of the more tougher releases to get through. The Scorch out of the bag was pretty good. I would have that was like a 4, I think. With oxidation, no, 3.5, 3.25. This one is really, really tough, man, because some of the notes I really, really like, especially in the nose. But whiskey's not all about the nose. You do have to, but it does have a good, it does have a good finish. So it's just the palate thing is it's good, but there is a dark chocolate thing going on with that anise that balances it out. There is a bit of sweetness, a bit of bitterness. It is well balanced. So it's better than a 3.25, 3.5. It's between a 3.5 and a 4.375. Might be a little too high for this one though. I'm kind of torn, but I definitely would not spend $300 or $400 on this by any means. The 150 ish. It's right. I mean, it's more of a 120 whiskey to me. 125, I think, is fair. 150, man, is getting on that. You're already at the precipice of being overblown. Whiskey knows. Good to see you too, man. Black is still the only committee release I've been able to get or see for that matter. I'm surprised, man. The black, yeah. I hopefully you can find. I mean, what I'm hoping happens is a lot of these guys are doing the secondary bullshit. They'll buy a bunch of it. They'll sit on it. They'll try to sell it for 300. They might get one or two people to bite on that, but most people are going to be like, no. And then they'll have to sell it for at least make up their money back for what they paid for 150, maybe even 120. So people that are looking to try things like the Scorch, this one, not talking about the committee release. It might blow me away. You never know. But this limited release one we're starting out with, this is one of those where I would sit and wait and see if you could get it for a reasonable price. If you can't get it for under, under 150, I would probably just kind of wait and see how the market goes because my contact said that this is the first time they ever got both at the same time. Typically, they would get one, of course, about 2 or 3 months before the other one would come out. They initially, Ardbeg was trying to do this thing where they were trying to be more fair to a bunch of whiskey resellers, and it got to the point, I think, thankfully, because I was even feeling the pain with all these stupid lotteries and crap, that they just wanted to get the whiskey out there, and finally, they just, I think, unleashed a bunch of it, but. The initial secondary market, I'm sure, is crazy. I've already seen a couple of these go for, I think, 3 to 350, which I thought was insane. But I definitely would put the brakes on that. So not a bad dram, not an outstanding dram on this one to me. It is better than average though. 3.5 to 3.75 is where I'm sitting. 1 to 150, that would be worth it. But anything above that, no way. I just wish that I knew the recipe on this because it would make me feel either better or worse about how I'm going through it. Because that young make sometimes it's hard to detect in how much percentage of it. Because yeah, I'm sure if it's an NAS, they're going to. I mean, thankfully they didn't bother doing an NAS with the fermentation. That was a 13-year straight up whiskey. That was a bit better, I think, but and a better ABV, but by far too. But this one has got me on the fence. Above average, doesn't kill. It's not as bad as the drum, not as good as the initial scorch to me. After a while, Hmm. I do like that dark chocolate note toffee stuff is still growing on me though, but mm, it's just a little subtle though, a little subtle. Maybe the strength of this next one will put me over the edge in a good way, hopefully. Oh my. This is the committee release of the Ardcore. I'm trying to get you guys to be able to see this. The trying to get the focus to be a little better, but you know how that goes. Uh, but hopefully, this will have a little more intensity overall with flavor and that cask. If it's just a little, if it's barely noticeable, I'm gonna be like, you got to be kidding me. But you never know. I do see a couple people have it on the Whisky base already, so this should be interesting too. Fresh glass and see where we're going. Did anybody? I don't think anybody's had this one yet in the channel. Whiskey knows. Have you been able to pop open any of these guys yet? Um, Greg's probably out there too somewhere. Daniel H, have you? Same thing, just not really noticeable on the pop. But wow, this is like, let's have a big pour. What the hell, right? It is after 12, so in my time zone at least, so it's okay. Do the Mark Broda swish. Uh, hmm. Good, but man, is it killer? Let's have a that's a four finger pour if I've ever saw one. At least a three. That's more of a three, I guess. Wow. Okay, now that's holding shape a lot better with the legs than the other one. The other one would have already ran. So even the 4% difference visually is already better. Man, it's holding that ring solid. Same exact color, no difference in color at all. It's a very light, what I would consider a light straw color. I might get a little more intense on the nose. That's good. That's a good sign. That roundish has more of like I think I'm getting more of the actual barley in this nose wise than the other one, which is a good sign. Hmm. Very similar. I hope the difference is not just the 4%, man, but you never know. That that greenish plantain is a little more intense. I'm not sure if that's good or bad because that's might be the just the intensity of the make, but hmm. This one's got a little more something. This one's got mint involved with it. I'm getting more of a menthol. But is that part of that make, man? That that youth. Phew. The intensity of the citrus, the brine is still there. This might have a little more of a seashell thing going, a maritime thing, maybe. Maybe that I don't know. That It definitely has more of a that Bondo putty thing that Bart from Scotch Test Dummies sometimes talks about. This definitely smells younger though than when you get that putty and you get that. I mean, I don't know what it is, but maybe because after oxidation it comes out. But the other one had a more of an antique smell to it. But let's have the this one air out a little bit more. I just popped the cork off of it, so it does have to breathe. We'll let it breathe a little bit and get it going. Oh man, what are you guys going to be sipping tonight, Daniel? I'm just curious what you might be getting into. Whiskey no same for you. Anybody else watching? What might you tap into? I've been over the this last week. I went back to the basics of what I know I like. I've been sipping a bit on the Talisker Distillers Edition Amoroso cask. Used to be about $82. Now it's about $90 to $95. Still a good price. Still a good whiskey. Still at least 10 years old, if I'm not mistaken. It might even be 12. I can't remember the age statement on it, but it is age stated as well, even though it's not physically with a number on the bottle. Had a friend liked it so much that I let him have it after we already had a couple drams, and he let me drink on his Bunnahabhain 18 for a while, which I thought was miraculous. Of course, I've had it before and love that whiskey, and you can't just find that anywhere. So I'm like, you more than well deserve a full bottle of Talisker Distillers because you just can't find that Bunnahabhain 18 anywhere. And he was still very very happy with that. So thankfully, happiness across the board. Uh, been going back, of course, to my usual suspects, the Lasanta and the Kitcher Bond from Glenmorangie. I like those two to have always on the bar for a sherry or a port type of deal. The Ardbeg Ardcore or the Corey Vrecken, you can't go wrong with either one of those. And also a Compass Box Spice Tree. I've been uh, that was on the menu for this last month. Classic John Glazier. Lucky enough to meet the guy, hang out with him for a weekend with Scotch for Dummies back. God, now it's been 4 years ago or so. Really fun, and really nice guy. Knows his whiskey extremely well, and not one of my favorite things about John is he's not afraid to tell people what he does, even though he risks, I'm sure, people trying to duplicate what he does, but I don't think anybody can really do what those guys do. The pickleness is a little more intense in this one, a little more of that briny. Wow, this one has a little more fruit, maybe like a little watermelon going on, like a melon, honeydew or something. I'm getting kind of a melony note out of this too. Not, I did not get that out of the first one, so and that's not bad. I do like a honeydew melon cantaloupe kind of thing. Hmm. Very, still very pickledy, very briny. Just, I thought that maritime thing was going to be there, but no, no seashells, no maritime. Let's go neat. 50%, not bad. Pretty spot on for what I would expect. A little more intensity, thankfully, on the palate. Finish is still outstanding, even better. What is that note? Hold on. Palate's really similar, but with this one, I'm definitely getting more of a nougat thing going on. Like the Three Musketeers without the chocolate as much, or like a dark chocolate version of the Three Musketeers, maybe. That kind of is what I get, a lot of intensity on the palate on that. More briny, more white pepper. Hmm. I do like that dark chocolate in the back end too, but man, it's good. It's different. Do I prefer it more than a good, just a nice fat good sherry cask? Probably not. But it is intriguing. It is different. I haven't quite had something like this, with the exception. This reminds me a bit of the Era Verdes. It does have that kind of coffee, minty. Um, it's really similar to that. The difference between the Araverdes and this one, though, to me, this one's got more of a the pickle ginger thing, and maybe like more of a white pepper note with all the stuff that came with the Araverdes. So, to me, it is more interesting than Araverdes, which was a good whiskey, but how much better? Because the Araverdes, I would have gave that one like a 3.5 to 3.75, similar to that first one. This one's a little better. I'm thinking maybe this might be around a 4. 180 though for the price. I don't know, man. That's awfully freaking high. Awfully freaking high for a NAS. I mean, if these guys were more like Compass Box and they told me there's 20% 15-year, 80% 7-year, at least I would know what I'm dealing with. That's the only thing that it kills me. Daniel H is kind of on a diet at the moment. Been saving pours for Tuesdays with malt music. Cool. But I did get a few new bottles from SNWS that have been incredible. Awesome. What distillery, if you don't mind me asking? What number, if you don't know the distillery? Because I can look it up. One is another. Here we go. One is another peated Glen Turret. That's 10, which I do have in a 10 peated from SMWS. That is pretty damn good. When I'm in the mood for just a straight up peat, though, it doesn't have like a sherry. Unfortunately, which I did wish it did. Then I decided to jump in and try a 13-year Tenninic red wine cast finish. Also incredible. Yeah, that's funny. Tenninic is one of those that I've had the distillery bottles, and the 17 is good, but not worth the price. But I would love to see some more independent versions of the Tenninic, and 13-year with red wine finish does sound damn intriguing. The couple bottles in the way. S&WS Revival release Glen Scotia and Kalila. Ooh, that sounds glorious, especially that Glen Scotia. Kalila I do appreciate, but Glen Scotia is one of my favorites. That 15, even though it's not sherried, man, everyone and I are still perplexed at how in the world that's not a sherried whiskey when it tastes like it definitely is. Wow. But hmm, I don't know, man. I can see why people thought. I mean, you do have to dig deep to get these notes. I mean, they're not that these notes that I'm giving you are not like pow in your face, easy to pick. I definitely did some digging to get a lot of that out that I've gone over so far, but I'm enjoying it. I mean, doing it neat for God's sakes and not having any problem or thing. But I think I am going to hit this with the water just to see any differences at all, if there are some. Hopefully, you guys are going to have a great weekend. It's the Memorial Day here in the United States. I'm sure that's not the case in anywhere else, of course, but hopefully you're having a really, really good weekend. And what better way to start off with an Ardbeg? I am a big fan of them in general, but hopefully they'll do more of the fermentation 13-year ones where they actually put an age statement on it. That's the only thing, the only real advice I could give a distillery like Ardbeg. Not that I'm all high and mighty or anything, but I do know what whiskey drinkers like myself like to see, and I think they're doing a good job. I'd like to see more age statements on their stuff and a little bit more transparency on possible um, you know if you're not gonna if you can't do it as a statement because it is an AS, that's cool. But just let us know. What the part, at least the parts, 80% this, 20% that, or 10 and 90, or 50-50, whatever it may be. Let us know what the at least kind of what the make of it is. It's kind of like the ingredients on a when you buy any goods. The first they give you the list and according to what the percentage of what's in there, like caffeine or carbonated water, benzenote, whatever the hell it is. I wish they had. I wish that there was an international law for whiskey um, that you know went more into that rather than this kind of stuff. Which I appreciate Ardbeg for their. They do know how to make a box look good, and I can appreciate punk rock and shit like that. I'm into it, but I need to know what's in the whiskey. Let's see. Haven't even tried any of the tonic, but being a cast strength going to be hard to beat by distillery release. Well, that I think that 17 was higher. Let me see. Where is that? Where is that box? I have all of them back here. Um, oh, there it is. Let me. You know what? I can just do it this way. This is what's great about the interwebs. I could just type it in and it'll tell me. If I could actually type worth a damn today, distiller Taninic 17. I thought was at least 48, but maybe not. Let me see. Whoa. T Taninic. That's a tough one to spell too if you're not used to it. 55.9, my friend. It's no joke. 55.9, 17-year Taninic. If you can find it, I know Dustin was not into it at first. I think he appreciated it a little more after a lot of oxidation. I enjoyed it before oxidation and definitely afterward. It usually averages at around a 4 out of 5. It looks like on most reviewers that I see. Let me see what whiskey base gives this sucker before I look at the other one. Taninic 17. Let's see. Taninic. Why in the world, man? Come on. The T-E-N-I-C-H. I mean, I even said it right, and I still didn't type it correctly. That's pretty sad. Taninic. Oh my god, I did it again. Now I put two eyes together. Way too many eyes. There we go. Okay, so 17-year. Um, I hope they have the regular one in here. They should. It was a 55.9. Let's see. There we go. They gave it an 86. Looks like averaged out, maybe. No, that's the distillery. Never mind. Scratch that. 1 second. Do they not have that bottle in their list? That can't be true. Hold on. Surely they have. Let me go back. Surely they have it. Maybe not. Taninic 17 brings up an old H&B 43 note. A miniature no. MOM, that's Masters of Malt no. 58.5. They don't have the regular 17-year on whiskey base. That is amazing. You don't usually see that. But thankfully, Distiller does have it. Out of 7 reviews, about a 4. So I'd say it's, if you can find it for a good price, it's, maybe worth it. But it is refill American Oak's hogshead and refill American Oak barrels. So you are getting a lot of refill on that. But with the ABV and for something, if you're interested in just what it, their guy gave it a 92 out of 100. That's pretty damn good for a score from those guys. But let's see. Let's go back. Sorry, I missed a few of you guys. Yeah, I've been hearing some good things about Tunic, though. Yeah, I was surprised for an old 17-year being 55.9. You don't see that very often. Man, I miss your live shows on two specific expressions, especially when it was about Bob Blair and Kergelicke. Yeah, I do love Bob Blair and Kergelicke, man. Those are, I mean, the old Bob Blair. I got to get a new bottle of Bob Blair. My Bob Blair experience is mostly with the vintage series. I've got that 83 right there. Beautiful, 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 beautiful bottle right there. One of the best whiskeys I've ever had. It's like a 31 year or something crazy amount. 20, at least 27, if not 30 something. Beautiful, beautiful whiskey. One of the best whiskeys I've ever had, bar none. For all sorts of, it has everything you could want. The Kergelicke, same thing, man. The 13. the 17, the 23, that 23 exceptional cask. Oh my God. One of the best whiskeys I've ever had. Both of those are exquisite, I'd say. I do want to get a new ballblair though. I don't have any on the bar yet. That's on my to-do list to see. I hate to spend a lot, so I might not get the 25 or 21 right away. I might stick with like a 15 or 18 just to see what that new make is like compared. Yeah, it's a pricey boy for that 17, man. 300 ish. Should be able to find it for more 250 if you look around a little harder. I'm hoping it might be because I did get it a while back, and I think it was a special release for 20. Yeah, 2017 special release. It was a one-off, Daniel. That's why it's 300. But if you can get it for 250, I'd say jump on that. If not, maybe wait for the next special release they do. I'm sure they'll do one. If it's a high year and a high ABV, man, I would maybe consider it. Thanks, man. You should listen to Pig Destroyer, best grindcore band ever. I'll have to consider that. I I'm not into the hardcore grindcore shit as much. Just gravelly vocals. I appreciate Maynard's tone and range, clarity, lyrics, the whole nine yards. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But if it's gravelly stuff, I don't know. I do like it when he screams though too, but that's a whole. It's not all the time. Yeah, you're hardly ever seeing distilleries with some aged at cast strength. Yeah, that's my favorite. If I can find it, that's my favorite for now. If I don't have a bottle from the distillery, that's what I've been shooting for. That's what I did with that Glen Elgin back there. It's an 18-year a special release at Glen Elgin 18. That was a high ABV too, if I remember correctly. Glentura did the same with their 15-year last year. I sound like some kind of Glentura fan today. They're not shabby. They're a pretty good distillery from what I've had. Just the independent bottle so far. I still need to get a regular Glentura bottle. That's a distillery bottle. Not easy to find, as you very well know. Grelicky 23 is my favorite dram, man. Did you ever get your hands on the exceptional cast version, which is the real high ABV one? That is killer, man. I mean, I know the 23 by itself is a great dram, but if you get your hands on exceptional cast strength series of the 23, you even though it is pricey, man, it's worth every penny of it. I mean, I am with the SMWS releases, the rich, darker, rich flavors. I love. I hear you there, man. I'm a huge gotta run. That's no problem, man. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hi with me. And if you do whiskey stuff on the side too, check out Teddy's channel if he's got one. I don't know. It's the first time I think I've seen him on the channel, but welcome and. Hopefully, if you haven't tried the exceptional cast series of that, man, you can get your hands on it somehow. That would be awesome. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the SMWS stuff too. When I get a chance to get it, I did have a for a bit there for a year. I had an account with them and did a few bottles here and there. The shipping though, man, is really high for what I was doing because I was just doing like a one or two bottles every so often. I can't afford to spend thousands and thousands on monthly on SMWS, but they do have quality scotch, and I do like the number system where you can tell what the hell you're actually getting. I had to go get my pour. See if this is still on. I've been letting it oxidize a bit. Definitely a lot of that ferment pickly. I'd still I like that dark espresso toffee kind of note, but I wish it was more in your face. I wish it had more presence in the palate on the finish. But hmm, I mean, couple drops. Didn't really change much with the oxidation for a while, but we'll do two little drops. See if this brings anything more out of it. But plantain's still there, man. Definitely going to be some youthful stuff in here, but the couple drops of water, man, it is bringing out this like hmm, more of like a brown sugar thing going on there, like a light brown sugar. little more sweetness. I like that. I hear you there, man. Yeah, unless you live, if you live close to one of those whiskey specialty shops, it definitely might not be worth it. But if you don't, you're right. It is. It does help to have a shoe in way to get some of those specials. Just racked up my first full year. I went all in about 26 bottles in the first year. Wow, man, that's something else. That's tasty. It's better with a couple drops of water. And I did. I mean, even though I did do a couple drops of water on the limited, the committee has more room to react without getting too low in the ABV, which is why I do prefer the committee releases. The finish is better on this, like a medium brown sugar thing now. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Sweetness is much better with the. I'm getting more of like a ginger snap thing now on the finish. Still dark chocolatey, roasty, coffee, espresso kind of thing. Okay, that's much better with the water with that. Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say. I mean, the limited. It's a good dram. It's above average, but it's not blow me away. I could see, limited market for it. 150 to me is right on that threshold. This is a 3.75 out of 5 at the highest. The, I was almost going to say 3.5. It's not as bad as the drum as a 3.25, but it's not like night and day difference either. So I can understand why people were kind of, I don't want to say upset, but maybe like not as into the limited release. But this committee release is different. This one's got a little more. I'm gonna have one more before I give it a final because I'm actually gonna give this a higher one. I think. Let me let me do one more neat and one more with water, just to make sure I'm doing this justice here. That color is so. I mean, the color is so light that it's not colored at all. It's so. The I mean, look how bright, look how light that is. It's crazy, but it tastes a lot darker than it looks, which is good. Uh-oh. I guess we got a tornado warning here or something. Let's see. Oh, tornado warning. Oh, whoa. Great. One second, guys. Well, thankfully, I'm in the basement. Just writing to my wife real fast, just let her know I'm tornado warning. I'm in the basement. My kid's at school today, so I'm gonna have to check and make sure that everything is on the old up and up on that. So I'm gonna have to cut this a little shorter than I wanted to, but I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Just for we've been on for an hour already. That's amazing, and really appreciate you guys stopping by. Let me have a quick sippy here. Don't want to rush it, but this didn't need just to see what we got. Okay, let me do one more with the water. I don't hear any wind. Like making sure that there's a tornado about to blow my house away or something. That was weird. Oh, I hear water, I think. I'll check it out in a second. Have a couple drops of water. There we go. And on my farewell to you guys, before I get blown away like Dorothy in Kansas, I'm in Maryland of all places. We don't ever get tornadoes. We've had a lot lately. Something's going on, man. It's always good to see you guys too, man. I really appreciate you stopping by. I'm sure a lot of people watch this after the fact, but let me have one more. Let me cleanse my palate real fast with a little water. Hopefully everything's good at the school. I'm sure hopefully they're not underneath their desks or something crazy, but hopefully they are if it's more safer that way. I hope she's not I hope she's doing okay. She's 13s now, which is crazy. So hopefully, thankfully, if it's better that she's actually a little older. If she was like 7 or 6, she'd probably be freaking out right now. But hopefully everything's going okay with you guys. And Slancheva for now. I'm gonna give this. Let's see. Final. I do like that. After a couple drops of water on that committee release, bumps it up to about a 4. Doesn't blow my socks away. Not as good as some classic releases, Dark Cove, of course, or even to me the Black or Kelpie, but it does have some nice flavor. 180 is steep. I would say more of a 170, 150 on the committee if you could find it. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I would be more comfortable spending 150 than 180, though. That's for sure on it. Not a bad whiskey. Not a bad whiskey. I mean, that's a tough thing with these yearly releases. So, is it worth it? Depends on how much I guess you want to taste it. And unless you're an Ardbeg fan like me, you might not want to go past that 150 to 180 at the absolute limit. I definitely would not go into these secondary market prices. Well, see you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out with me, and sorry to make these so kind of off and on once a month, once every couple months or so. But I'm trying to get a little more healthier in general. You know how that goes. Playing a little more drums, playing a little more guitar, a little more mellotron, a little more bass, a little more everything. I've been getting into the Moody Blues a lot again lately. I've used to love their '60s stuff, and now I'm kind of getting at some of their '80s stuff they were doing. So kind of fun. Cheers and Slancheva.